So now that you've watched that video, a lot of this is going to start making more sense here. Is that first of all, in your files, I want to see your header file, just like you would in normal programming class, with your name, email, that type of stuff. And you'll notice that comments always start with a semicolon. Second is that from there on out, that's where the program begins. That's very similar to, frankly, Python well, we'll just leave it at that. We'll start out with our display hello world and then display, this is Lupoli's first scheme program. Notice the exit at the very end, because if you don't exit, it's going to keep you in the not interpretive mode, but in the scheme program. And we want to make sure we get out of it. So you saw the exit before in a previous video. So make sure you always add that to the end of the program. So there's nothing crazy about what you're seeing here, especially with the video that you just saw, but what I want you to do is right behind me. So work on that for a little while. Not meant to be tough. Notice I am asking you to make a mistake so you kind of get used to the interpreter's response on mistakes, because there is line numbers that it does give you that try to help. Notice it said try to help in getting your, well, response for correction. So work on that. I'm going to bug out here in a second, get to work on that, and we'll go over answers here in a little bit. So while I'm hoping you made some mistakes intentionally in your code to see what can happen, I don't trust you either. So I'm going to do a couple of mistakes. And these mistakes are pretty routine, so I want you to notice the overall error messages that you may get. So heads up on that, because I'm sure you'll see it sometime during the year here. And exactly, oh, I saw this before, I know how to fix it, that type of thing. So the code that I'm showing you right now, it works, so that part we don't have to worry about. But what I wanted to do was, again, like I said, make some intentional errors. So first I'm actually going to take out the quote from Hello World. And I mean, I gotta watch. I am using Emacs to edit everything, but then if I want to run it, I'm using GSI to go ahead and run the actual code. So then you'll see incomplete form, EOF reached, but the important part is that it's actually trying to tell you what line and everything is on. It's actually line number 1, and then it says character 21. Let's put it this way, kind of very similar to when you do programming in Java or C++. The error message isn't exactly perfect on where the error is, but if you don't see anything on that line, then look up. Now it is line 1, as you and I just saw, so I'm going to go back there, go back to Emacs, put in my quotes. See, notice you got a couple highlights. There's line 1. And then I thought Emacs gave you the character, but I guess not. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And go ahead and just show you that it's running again. And, oops, I forgot. I got to type in my averages and stuff like that there. So my next one I'm going to try. I'm going to do a missing parenthesis. New line just gives me a space after hello world. And then I'm going to run the sucker. And notice this time it does say line 2, but again, notice that error message incomplete form. Notice it could be double quotes or a parenthesis. So notice I'm trying to give you a heads up already on some of the error messages you may see and a possible solution. So let me go back to that. The next one I screwed up on originally, and that was I forgot this plus. Now remember, this plus, I'm doing an average of 3 numbers. This plus was adding the 3 numbers first and then dividing it by 3. I totally forgot the operator. So let me show you what that looks like. This gets through the display. And by the way, notice your program is going to run. Kind of like Python. It'll run as much as it can and then blows up after that. So I'll make up the numbers here. And notice it says error. The operator is not a procedure. Now, you need to read the error messages carefully. And I'm not trying to be sarcastic or derogatory when I say that. But in reality, isn't that right? I took out the operator. And let's see here. If we go back to what it was, it's trying to think that read is what's going to be the procedure on everything, but it's not. Really, we're applying the plus to everything, and then we're going to be reading all those values in to then add them all together. So use some of the little errors that I showed you here to help you with some of your process of coding and debugging when you get to your real coding that we have later on.